Hello, Somicron. Our things today on this beautiful podcast day.
Oh, wonderful. Look at that. My webcam is decided to take a minute. There we go.
You
Just
know,
had to
sometimes they
poke
just
it with
need
a
a little
stick.
bit of time to get started in the mornings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
mm,
It's a
they'll do
lovely
that.
day today. How's it there? Did it snow again?
You know what? It's snowing in the mountains again. Yeah.
Wow.
Like everybody was like, so winter's over. It never snowed. That's weird. And then, yeah, got like 8 more inches of snow up at the ski resorts today.
Fair enough.
It's a weird year. We'll take it though. We need every bit of snow, every bit of rain we can possibly get because,
It's true.
desert and everything, as
Desert.
always.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hmm.
How are things there? Blazing hot, I assume.
Not terribly hot. Like,
Okay.
hold on. I can find this 20
Manageable.
degrees Celsius. That's low 70s. Like,
No, no.
yeah, it's fine. It's nice.
Yeah, sounds beautiful.
Yep.
We'll accept these days while we have them.
For sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
To offset that, my cat put his claw like through my finger. That was fun.
All the way through?
No, or just like a bit into it. Like, I was playing with him and I
Okay.
didn't get my hand away fast enough, and he took a swipe at the toy and it went in pretty deep, and it was like a big owie. But it's
Good
okay.
grief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cat's claws are intended to do that very thing, actually.
Turns out.
Pierce flesh so they can kill stuff.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Not,
And like,
not quite as big as humans, but,
not quite, but boy, could they if they wanted to.
You think? Nah, I don't think they could.
You don't think a cat could kill any human?
Well, maybe a paraplegic.
What about just like a geriatric or a child?
Well, I think I mean, depending how small the child is, we're coming close to like the size of prey for cats anyway, right? Like a
Sure.
baby, like sure.
Yeah. What about like a 1-year-old or 2-year-old? I reckon a cat could take a 2-year-old.
Ooh, that's getting close. I think that's really getting close.
There's like a clip of a woman who is like, this is from ages ago, but a cat like climbs up this woman and she just is utterly unable to stop this cat from climbing up her, right? Like she's in her front yard or something, and she's trying to scare off this cat, and this cat just goes, "No, I can take you," and is like up the leg, around the back, over the front, and is like at her throat in like half a second. I think
Yeah.
I think a cat, if cats could study anatomy and know to go for like the jugular, right?
Okay, so you're talking prep time then. You're like, if Batman
Wow.
Cat had prep time,
Well,
then
maybe it's just a case of luck, but like if a cat gets to you, and sure, maybe it's lucky, but how many times do we have to have a cat fight a person before they get lucky? Like it's bound to happen eventually. So I think the idea
so
that
it's like
cats could
infinite
never.
monkeys on infinite typewriters.
It's not even infinite. I don't think we have to get into the low hundreds to do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I think it'd have to know what it's doing.
Mm, maybe not. I mean,
Hmm.
it knows to kill things already. That might be enough, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I guess that's the point.
Have any house cats killed anyone? Put that in my Google
Ooh.
hit. Has a house cat ever
Yeah,
killed
yeah,
a
yeah.
person? Uh, okay, so we're not going to include accidental deaths where like you trip over a cat and fall down some stairs. That doesn't count. Neither does infection. Like if a cat bites you and you don't treat it because you're a dum dum.
Right. Doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Let's. Oh, I do not want Cora. Uh, Thank you, Reddit. Someone's has anyone ever been mauled to death by a cat? And I don't mean like a lion or a large feline. I mean a house cat or a stray cat. And the top comment was, yes, I was mauled to death by a cat. um, yeah, seems like it hasn't likely happened. Um,
Doesn't sound like
Ranker.com
it.
has 9 terrifying stories of house cats that killed people. Um, but this looks more like cats that were accidentally like sleeping next to a baby and smothered it, or they had rabies or something. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there are ways that certainly a cat can cause a death, but
Yeah,
that's not
that's
what
not
we're
what we're
looking
talking
for.
about. No,
Right.
yeah, we ruled that out. So it doesn't seem
Uh-huh.
like any cats have been training to take down the giants that live with them. There's
No.
no shadow of the Catlossus. Um,
Somebody should make a game where you play as a house cat and you have to murder your owner. They've already got the cat stuff down. I played Stray. They've got that figured out.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I think you're right. I do think if they knew what they were doing, they could jump up on someone and like puncture their jugular with their teeth, right? And then
Well,
you bleed to death in like 30 seconds.
so
Like that's pretty good.
a cat's jaw is not its most powerful attack. It's actually its hind legs. Because like think about it, because they use that to jump several times their own body height, and so if they were able to get up to you and then start getting in with those claws will just rip shreds because the leg muscles there are so powerful. That's kind of what I would be worried about. But yeah, like a lucky bite could do it too, but I just don't think they have a really powerful enough. Like when a cat bites your arm or whatever because you were playing with it and it got overstimulated, you're not in a position where you're like, I need to rip this thing off before it does any real harm to me until the bite's already happened. In the
Yeah.
instance where a cat's trying to bite at your throat, I feel
Yeah.
like you're just going to be like, okay, I grab it by like behind the back of the neck, like you do when you're picking up a cat, and like you're just
Right.
going to overpower it before it can bite you there. So I don't necessarily think the biting is what you got to worry about.
Fair enough.
So there's a game coming out on Steam at some point called How Many Dudes? I think I talked about this before.
Okay.
And it is based entirely around the how many dudes would it take to, beat a gorilla? Like, or
Right.
would you rather fight 100 goat-sized horses or one horse-sized goat? That kind of thing.
Right.
And so each round you pick a new dude, and you can pick like a regular dude, and then you can train them into paladin dude or a cleric dude or a military dude or a vampire dude, and they all have different abilities. But each round it's like, okay, you have your cadre of dudes, and then it presents you a couple of options. Would you rather fight 200 ducks, 1,000 toddlers, a silverback gorilla, and then you just play through as many rounds as you can, leveling up and collecting gear and stuff.
Right.
I played the demo. It's a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the game to come out at the end of July.
Okay. That sounds fun.
So yeah, this might be a scientific research game. Hard data about whether or not people think a bunch of dudes could beat a gorilla, or maybe they'll have a cat mode where you can play as a cat, and how many dudes can you beat?
Yeah. That's, I mean, at the very least, modders, right?
Yeah, a modder could do that. Yeah.
What a world we live in. What a world where we can find out how many cats it would take to kill a person in a video game. Amazing stuff.
Truly.
Truly amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, been playing some Dying Light on stream recently. It's been pretty good.
I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, still fine. They still have you climbing giant towers a lot.
Yep. Yeah, you saw that.
Yeah. Welcome to mid 2010s gaming.
Yeah.
Not that they don't do that anymore, let's be real, but
True.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's good. I mean, ostensibly the whole point is like, hey, the city of Haran is largely zombies, but there are people here. But the government's like, it's just easier, just kind of kill everybody in the city and then sort out the details later.
Sure.
So it's the people inside being like, hey, how do we get a message out that's like, please don't kill us?
Yeah. It's
And then
fine.
I don't know what happens after that, really. So I'm kind of curious to see where the story goes.
Well, every time anyone's ever said please don't kill us, it's always worked. So,
Right.
um, yeah, I suspect it will.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure the ending is just happy where the survivors
Oh,
are taken out of Haran and they find a cure and they cure everybody who's a zombie and then
then they're
the
having a
Olympics
picnic.
happen in
Yeah.
Iran like they're supposed to and everything's great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I have a Starfield story about climbing a tower. It's not really about climbing a tower, but it involved a tower, so you've just reminded me.
Okay.
So I'm playing through Starfield, and all of the quests are still stupid and dumb and poorly written and just kind of awful. So you're trying to find these MacGuffin artifacts that might be from an alien civilization that give you magic powers, right? And somebody is selling one. Like a collector just had one, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sell it." And so you go to this town or the city called Neon, which is basically just Night City, but it's one big long corridor instead of a whole city because it's Starfield and it's not actually about making interesting cities, right?
Nope.
um, so, but while you're there, it's fine. But one of the benefactors in your little organization, he's called something Shroud. I don't remember his name. And it turns out he's Shroud from Shroud slash whatever company. Like, he's a corpo dude, apparently. It turns out, and he's super wealthy. He makes ships. And so we go there, and we meet his wife, who's running the business while he's away. And he's like, I need the discretionary fund. I wish to buy this artifact thing. And she's like,
Right.
okay, I'll give it to you, obviously, but we're going to do things my way. You're going to have to, like, investigate this seller and see if there's anything you can work out against him. And so you get two things to do. One, find some information on the seller. Two, you're doing a deal at at a nightclub, because this game also wants to be like Mass Effect or something, right? Like it's Aria and Mass Effect 2. But
Right.
so the CEO's headquarters of this Shroud company is in the building called The Tower. The nightclub is on the ground floor of the tower. So they're doing a deal literally downstairs, right? And you've got to go and figure out security. And you find out that the seller has actually stolen the item, and so he's super desperate, and you can make him fold really easy and give you a good price. And then you... So you go to the deal, you do that little interaction, you can...
Enthralling so far, by the way.
Oh, it's great, right? But
What gameplay?
pressuring him in the persuasion system to like sell it to you and like using the tricks like you coerce security to be on your side by getting a VIP package, which you were able to get a VIP discount, a discount on the VIP package by telling it's for someone who's ultra wealthy, and it's like they're ultra wealthy and they live upstairs in this tower. That wouldn't convince me to give them a discount. I'd be like, no, you can afford full price.
No.
And it also
Yeah.
wasn't that much, right? Like, it was like 2,000 credits. And I'm like, okay, I got 2,000 credits by handing in some planetary scans. It's not a lot of money. Anyway, you get the piece, and then as you're like leaving the room where you did the deal in the VIP sections, it turns out the buyer worked for a competitive ship company CEO and had stolen the artifact, and he wants it back because it's stolen property. And you basically give him the middle finger and use club security to be like, hey, this guy's harassing me. And then you immediately go, oh no, we can't leave. That CEO has paid off the city security to impound your ship, right? So we got to go and deal with him. And it's like, okay, let's go find him. Oh, he's in the tower as well. He's just upstairs. Everything is set in this one tower in this city. And so you go to the this is like their company's HQ. You go to the ground floor, well, into the entrance, and you go to reception and be like, I need to speak to the CEO. And you have three options. One is to bribe your way in. Two is to persuade her to like you the persuasion system kind of sucks. It
What in
yeah, I know, I
Starfield?
know. That's shocking. It gives you, based on difficulty, you have to fill up a number of bars worth of stuff, right? So it'll give you three options. There'll be a green option that's like it'll give you +1, but it's pretty likely. An orange might be +2 or 3 or 4, but it's unlikely. And then reds are like a hard sell, but they'll give you like a +5 or a 6. So if the
Okay.
persuasion is like you need to get a 4, it's not very difficult. If it's like a 7, it's pretty difficult. But you only have 3 turns, regardless of how difficult it is. But a turn only counts if you fail. Anyway, so you can persuade this person to be like, oh, your boss is expecting me, and she'll basically let you go straight up. The third option is the one that I went with, was you impounded my ship, fuck you, and attack. You can... So
Let's solve this problem with violence.
right. So I pulled out my gun, shot this woman in the face, and she doesn't die. She just goes down, and I'm like, okay, this is like a quest person. You can't kill her.
Right.
But
Classic.
everyone else in the building goes hostile. That includes their customers, their research staff, and their security force. And the game lets you go postal. Right?
Wow. Let's go.
You can just kill everyone in like the 3 or 4 levels of this person's complex in the tower. Like they have their own internal elevators, so it's a tower within a tower. You've got to get to the top, and that includes going outside and climbing along like the fire escape or whatever. So it's another climb to the tower, and then like the CEO is talking to you because you get into an elevator and he's like, haha, I've locked down the elevator, and then someone else hacks in and gets you out and you keep climbing. But you eventually get to like his penthouse a bit, and you step outside from the elevator or the door or whatever, and he goes, all right, let's have a chat and talk about this. And I'm like,
And you're
no,
like, I've killed 37 people, sir.
I have killed no less than 45 people, most of them research assistants and customers who the game gave them a
Janitors.
knife, right? To be like, oh, they're going to attack you. They have like a knife. But they don't run at you and try to stab you. They run away, and you will, and I did, shoot them in the back every time. The game has
So
absolutely
you're
no
like,
Did you're muted. Like, what'd you do? Did you push the button? You pull out a cable? What'd you do? Oh, there we go. You know.
are we?
Yeah, there you are. You're back.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm just like, what part of the last 20 minutes, dude, makes you feel like you
Yeah,
can just talk this out?
I'm gonna talk this out. Yeah.
Tell him.
So I kill him and I kill all of his bodyguards, and they're like, "Great, that worked." The city security, no, he's dead, and now you can get in your ship. I'm like, that makes no sense, but okay.
Right.
I get in the elevator. I go back down to the lobby because I gotta leave through 3 engines, and the receptionist woman has woken up from being shot in the face and is standing back at her desk, and I go to talk to her, and the game has not updated that her boss is dead or that this quest is pretty much done. And I'm still able to persuade her. So I persuade her to give me access to the elevators. Like, your boss is expecting me, and I earn a little bit more experience by convincing a woman who I killed that her boss, I guess, is still alive and still expecting me. That is Starfield in a nutshell.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You massacre. The game's like, yeah, you can massacre everyone. Are we going to take this into account at all? No.
That's the
But
thing.
have fun killing everyone.
The NPC that I've got, my companion, is like a former cultist, and she has absolutely no issue with me killing all these people, right? Absolutely none. But I went to another planet, and I was doing, I guess, some DLC stuff where you get to go and become one of the cultists if you want and help them out on their stuff and like get to know them and get a bit of backstory and lore. Like, okay, that's fine. So I had her with me because I'm like, she's going to obviously have some really interesting insights. But I immediately ran into a quest where I'm helping one of their internal factions, and they're like, yeah, so we were maybe doing some deals with the more zealotous of our kind, they're expressly forbidden from like because they kind of just go around and be pirates and kill everyone on sight, and we're trying not to associate with them because we want to be organized, and that's pretty unorganized and likely to get everyone to just come and kill us. And I'm like, yeah, so you don't want to be seen associating with these guys, but you were. And like, yeah, okay, well, I need to go and rescue like a prisoner they took. And you're like, yeah, maybe you just kill the prisoner and take their research. And so I was like, okay, sure, bet.
Pragmatism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help you, lady I just met, murder a bunch of civilian hostages. Why not? And I, of course, find the hostage, shoot her in the face, and my companion's like, what the hell, man? That was an innocent person. I'm like, you watched me kill 47 people on Neon. But this one's...
You're still here.
This
you
one's
have
too
signed
far.
up for this.
This one's too far.
Shooting innocents in the back is fine, but this is not okay. Yeah. Awesome. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to remember in Skyrim, right? Was it any better in Skyrim? Probably not.
Probably not. But at least you could, like, talk to people and you could learn something interesting about their cause or, like, their beliefs about why they're doing the thing they're doing. Whether or not those beliefs are right or wrong or supported by other evidence, there was other evidence that you could make that decision, you know? Finding out that Ulfric Stormcloak was just, like, a massive racist, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You could have that nuance to it. Instead, it's just like a CEO took my ship, so I was allowed to kill everyone in his employ.
But then it didn't really matter. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
that's Starfield.
I'm glad you're having enough of a good time with it.
Yeah. So, you know, getting magic powers is nice. I didn't do that the first time I tried it.
Yeah.
I tapped out well before that.
There you go. That's fair. Magic's always fun.
Magic.
We like magic around here.
Magic is fun. I have the ability to dash forward pretty quick.
Ooh.
I have the magic ability to calm my enemies for a little bit. And I have the magic ability to create oxygen so that when I'm running and I'm out of breath, I will no longer be out of breath and can keep running.
I mean, that sounds like the best one.
It is.
That's awesome.
That is the one I have on game.
Being able to run infinitely in games like this is the best.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So that being able to run faster a little bit thing reminds me of a thing I saw today where Qui-Gon's dying and he's like, hey, Obi-Wan. In Phantom Menace, right? He's like, hey, remember that time at the beginning of the movie where we ran really fast with the Force? That would have been really cool if you had done that like 3 minutes ago. This was a really hard fight. Just hard to account for superpowers when you're telling a story, it turns out. So if you give your player character shitty superpowers, then hey, you're good to go.
Yep.
It's harder to break the game when all you can do is run real fast a little bit and run without getting out of breath and maybe putting people to sleep a little bit. Like, come on. That's like the most milquetoast, horrific powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Well done, Todd. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm out on Todd.
That's fair.
He's going to release the Elder Scrolls 6 in like 20 more years. I'm going to be like, meh.
I'll wait for...
I think somebody was posting... Yeah. I think it's been like 7 years since that trailer posted.
Oh, yeah, probably. And like...
The teaser? Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like, hey, we're working on it. It's not like, hey, it's in pre-production. It's like, yeah, it's on the pipeline. It's like it's a item on a checklist that we're going to talk about at some point. There was nothing there at
Yeah.
the
No, no,
time.
no. What you said first was we're working on it, and I was like, no, they are not. It is an item on a checklist. There's a whiteboard somewhere that sells Elder
Rule
Scrolls 6.
6. Yeah, question mark?
That's it. That's all
Yeah.
we've got.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah.
uh, in the same vein as that, I saw some posts on Instagram that people were like, "Oh my god, did you hear the news about Cyberpunk 2? It's officially entered pre-development. It got through, like the concept phase at CD Projekt Red, which is where they talk about the concept of maybe doing a Cyberpunk 2." And I'm like, "What news is
Right.
this? Who cares?" Even if it's true that like they finally decided that, oh, we have a concept that like Cyberpunk 2 is a good game and maybe we should make another. And this is where it'll be about.
Right.
What?
Right.
But
That
that
shouldn't
game
take
is
too
still
long. Really.
that game is still years away.
Yeah. Probably a decade.
Probably.
Certainly.
Yeah. I just don't know who. I just don't know who that kind of post is for. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a little dopamine hit. It's like, ooh, that's exciting. Move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Pretty much it.
What can you do?
So last week my daughter comes in and she's like, hey, remember Full Metal Alchemist? And I'm like, yes, I remember Full Metal Alchemist. And she's like, the manga writer made a new manga in 2021 and it just got turned into an anime and the episodes are on, I think, Netflix at this point.
Okay.
It's called Demons of the Shadow Realm. It's honestly a pretty horrible name. It's really nondescript and terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah, I think this is on Crunchyroll for me. Yep.
yeah, I don't know exactly where it is.
Okay. Sure.
Perfect. Anyway, so like, I don't know. I've watched 4 episodes of it, and it's okay.
Okay.
It's like, I'm trying to be like, okay, what did I and everybody else love about Full Metal Alchemist? Like, what made it so good? And I think at its core, I think maybe it's the Ed and Al relationship.
Okay.
It might be, right, where Ed's this like super driven genius guy who kind of sucks with people. He gets mad real easy, but he really cares about others and he really wants to save the world. And Al's just like this dandelion of a person who's just like happy all the time and wants everyone else to be happy. And by golly, that's how we're doing it, right?
Sure.
And just something about that relationship, and maybe Al in particular, is like that just through this really dark story where people die and get murdered and there's genocide. And it's like, okay, but then you've always got Al around who's like, things will be fine. And I don't know, like this, that I just got through 4 episodes of this Demons of the Shadow Realm. And it's like every character is kind of like dour a lot, kind of angry all the time. And there's no one who's just there to be like the counter to that. And so I feel like it's missing something that way. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting idea, right? You've got a main character who's living on this mountaintop village in what looks like feudal Japan. He's the prince of whatever that's going on, yada, yada, yada. Everything's pretty normal. You go out and you hunt pheasants and you plant crops and it rains and you eat, and it's pretty much what's going on in a medieval peasant society.
Sure.
And then one day something happens. They hear a boom, and this kind of misty shield that's been over the village goes away, and they see a 747 flying overhead, and you're like, "All right,
Sure."
what?"
Okay.
So that's your hook, right? That's the hook of what's going on here. But it's fine. I don't know. If you want to try it, you can. I'm not really recommending it. I'm just letting you know that's what we're watching. Another hook is that there are demons,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's the daemon version of demons, or it's Daemon, where it's
Mm-hmm.
helpful supernatural beings, not demons from the underworld,
Sure.
from evil, right?
Sure.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So certain people have demons, and they always come in pairs. So it's kind of cute. There's like a tortoise and a hare, and there's a pair of, or there's just like two people, or there's a horse and a rider. So there's some creativity that way, where like demons will show up, and you're like, oh, okay. You always see one and be like, what's the other one? Let's guess, you know. So it's fun. It's fine.
Okay.
It's all right. It might get better. I don't know.
So one of the shows that I had been watching, I had suggested we watch because people on Reddit said the source material was really good, is Liar's Game. And that has 4 episodes
Yes.
out. And I went back to go and try and watch the 3 episodes that I hadn't seen. Because I'd only seen episode 1, and that was a slog. Episode 2
Yeah.
continues to be a slog.
Oh no.
Episode 3 starts with like the resolution of episode 2 and then sets up like more going forward, and it's just so boring. It is painful to watch. It is. And like I'm looking on the Reddit, people talking about it, and they're like, yeah, the first bit they probably could have condensed a little bit more, but the rest of it's really good, trust me. And I don't know that I trust them. You know?
It's like, you got me into this mess in the first place.
Right. And like they're saying that like
Yeah, that sucks.
it's all mind games and you know, challenges for money, right? That's what this is about, where you get people to do games for money, but the challenges are like you have to lie to your opponent and try to steal their money. And they promising that all of the rest of the games that they play at this point are really solved with like psychology and logic and math, and like it's all really good, right? But watching
Okay.
episode 2 of this show, where they're like, okay, this old man, this teacher of yours, stole 100 million off you, and now we're gonna logic, math, and psychology to break him. That is not how it happens. They pretend that's how it happens. They're like, all right, I have a plan. First, we tell him we're gonna steal it, right? And then we watch him for a month. Because the game is set over a month. So the first 2 or 3 days, they're just like following him wherever he goes, or parked in their car out the front of his house, and he gets nervous and calls the police, and he's like, haha, I drove them off by calling the police. So they're able to rent for a month the apartment that overlooks this guy's backyard. And they sit there with a
So
single
the
chair.
plan is that eventually he'll lead them to where it is.
Maybe he's claimed that he put all the money, because you have to hold, 2 people got given 100 million yen each, and you have to have it for a month, and for the tournament organizers to come back and take it off you. And if you steal the other person's 100 million yen, you get to keep their money. So this guy's like, I stole it, and then I put it in a safety deposit box at the bank, right? Because you also need to provide them with like serial matched money. It has to be the same notes. So it's in a safety deposit box. That's what
sounds reasonable.
we're told to believe. And so that's what we know at this point.
Yeah.
He's like, I am an excellent con man. I will use psychology to break him. I will rent for a month the apartment that overlooks this guy's balcony. I'm like, wow, that's convenient. And then they just sit there and watch him for a month. And this guy's like slowly losing his mind because he can see them watching him and refuses to close the curtain, and he's just like getting crazy. And they're like, okay, now let's go and blow smoke through his vent so he thinks something's on fire. And then he pulls out his
Sherlock Holmes move.
yeah, and he pulls out his phone and he's like, "Oh, Tanaka-san, can you come over right now? Something's on fire." And it's like not the stove or the toilet, or the bathtub. He's like, those are the 3 things he like looks. It's just the guy going crazy, right?
Not the bathtub on fire.
Right.
Right.
And then magically they're at the door, like the protagonist, and they're like, aha, I see that you would, instead of calling the fire, you would rather die than leave this room. I detect that the money's in this room. He's like, yes, it is. And he pulls back like a sliding door and it's like, it's in this safe. You'll never get it. And all of this is being animated with just wildly over the top reactions, right? Like, you have to see it to believe it. I really think you should pull up episode 2 and just like scrub through it until you see a face going, it's
So it's a show that's like we have smart characters doing smart things, but really everyone's dumb.
Everyone is dumb. So it's a show with 3 characters. There's the teacher who stole the money and has the money. There's the woman who initially got given the money in the invitation. Her name's Now, and she is honest to a fault. And so, like, when this guy pulls back the drawer and reveals the safe, she, like, collapses and starts crying, being like, we'll never get it. And then the con man she's, like, working with is like, haha, I can totally get into that safe. It'll be easy. And see how isn't that a effective mental trick to play on this old man? By telling him I can get into it, he experienced cognitive dissonance where he feels what he's thinking doesn't match the reality of what everyone else is thinking and is now being forced to adjust what he's thinking. And that scares him. And sure enough, they go back to their little apartment and they're looking into his yard and this guy's like, oh, they're gonna try and come in and steal it while I'm asleep. I know. And he like gets up and walks off and comes back and he's got 2 kitchen knives in each hand. And then he's got like masking tape or something around his head and 2 kitchen knives sticking out of the top of that, like a little crown horns or something. And he's like, try and get it now.
Okay. Yep.
This
is writing. It sure is.
This is writing. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. This meets the technical definition of writing. You're just...
Has Reddit ever steered you this wrong before?
No. It really hasn't.
What's going on with this then? Like, what's the deal?
Either after the episode 4, it really does get way better. Or I just have no idea. I really don't know.
I mean, are you going to try it and see what happens?
No.
I don't... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I would at this point.
Honestly, episode 3, they resolve that game, and they do it by having the con man send to fake the letter update from the people running the game, being like, yes, we'll be back to collect the money at 5 p.m. on June 1st or whatever. And so he pretends to be one of them, like he's a master of disguise and is like wearing a wig. And he's like, yes, I'm here to count the money. And he's like, oh, excellent, let me open my safe. Gives it to him. And he's like, okay, I'm just going to check the serial numbers. And then he like just picks it up and walks it over to Now and gives it to her. And then the real guys show up and they're like, well, the game actually ends at 6, not 5. And she's got the money. So you lose, I guess. We're standing in your living room, but you lose.
I guess.
Yeah. And so anyway, that game gets wrapped up, and the con man takes 50%. That was his cut. So of the 100 million she made, he gets 50 million. And she's like, well, this guy had debts. He told us he had debts. He's going to be able to pay them off. Meanwhile, his internal monologue, every time he's like, yes, I can't wait to spend all this money, is like all of the people he owes money to kowtowing to him. And then being like, I'm going to spend 10 million on this 100 million, 10% at a hostess club and have lots of hot women pour me champagne. Like, he's internally, the dude's a scumbag.
As you do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Now, ever so sweet Now, this poor lady is like, here, I know it's not enough for all your debts, but have my 50 million. And he's like, oh, wow, thank you. That was very kind. I'll be a better person. And then the con artist goes, well, I said I'd only take 50% of whatever you earned. If you give him your money, you don't earn anything. Give this to him as well. So the guy who stole the money ends up with the money. which is really stupid because this guy already had debts, which is why he wanted the money. But because he lost the game, he actually has 100 million more in debt. He owes the company now. So they just cleared that, not his
Yeah.
actual debts. And then they walk back to her apartment, and there's another letter. It's like, hey, congratulations on winning the first round. You're invited to the second round. You can cash out if you give us half of what you won in the last round. Oh, you don't have any money because you gave it all away. You're stuck playing now. That's how they get her to agree to be in the next round. Because they just write it so that she had to give them money. And, like, they didn't tell her that when they counted and gave her winnings. You know, you could have, while
Yeah.
you were there, just been like, oh, and here's the rules for the next game. No, it had to come in the mail the same day. There's a knock at my door. I'll be back.
Okay. I I just uh there are so many stupid shows out there, aren't there? And all right, pro tip kids, if you're writing a show where there are smart characters, they can't be smarter than you are. Keep that in mind. This is what happens. This is what happens if you try to write something with characters that are smarter than you are. Like what? Uh, it's ridiculous, is what it is. I think that's just simply what it is, man. If you're gonna write smart characters, I mean, you can either write smart characters who are not as smart as you.
I'm back.
You don't okay, so you don't have to be smarter than the characters that you're writing, or
No.
as smart as the characters that you're writing. If you'd steal stuff from other people who wrote smart things, right?
Sure. That's one way to do
Because
it.
that thing where it's like you want to know where somebody's hiding something and then start a fire in their house and see what they do. That's a Sherlock Holmes thing from like 1863. It is in a Sherlock Holmes story. These writers are like, ah, that's a smart thing. Hua! And they toss it in there. It's kind of a smart part of the story. It wasn't theirs, wasn't their idea, but they stole it from someone else and they got some smartness out of it. They should do that more often, is what I'm saying.
So
If they want to write a smart TV show.
they didn't even set the house actually on fire. They lit
No, I know.
well, I don't know what they did in Sherlock Holmes. I'm saying in this show they like had a oil drum barrel outside this person's vent and like
Yep.
and then just
They
fanned
make
some
the
stuff.
person think the house is on fire, but it's not, and see what they do. That's exactly what it is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I
So again, if you want to write something smart and you're not smart enough to do it, then steal from other smarter writers.
sure.
Not a big deal at all.
Yeah. It's just you know.
Nobody noticed except for me.
Anyway. That's Liar's Game. Don't check it out.
I certainly will not. Definitely
I mean,
no.
I think you should definitely try and watch the second episode. Just out of context, don't watch the first one. Just try and watch it for the reactions and really get a feel for what I'm talking about. I think it'll blow your mind in how bad it is. Like, I think there's some epicaricacy there to be had.
Some what?
Epicaricacy. It's the joy in something bad. It's like Schadenfreude, but
Oh.
English. Epicaricacy.
Yeah. So it's less finding joy in someone else's suffering and just finding joy in something that sucks.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch it, you'll like
get that.
you'll get the joy that I had in the joy of me suffering having watched it, with maybe the idea that it gets good at some point. Like, oh, is this scene the one where it gets good? Oh, maybe it's this scene.
Right.
No, it's not this one. Imagine going through that, feeling that earnestly.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm impressed you got through 3
Uh,
episodes at
I
all.
I got through 2.5. I skipped through the third one.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
made it as far as you could.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough of that, I think.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Anything else we're missing here? I don't think so. I think we could just do the Warhammers. Is
Yeah.
there something else you wanted to cover?
Um, no, not particularly. Um, I've been playing Vampire Crawlers, a new game by the people who made Vampire Survivors, which was like a roguelite. I don't know, shoot 'em up is kind of like the right way to do it. It was very popular a while ago, where you play as like a character in the big 2D map, and you walk left and right, and you like kind of auto attack and pick up new weapons and stuff. It's a great
Yeah,
game.
classic.
Their new version is like the same game, but what if it was also like a deck builder and you walk through like a 3D environment? It has no right being as good as good as it is. It is $14 Australian and is easily worth the price. Um, I'm having a blast. People should play it. Um,
Excellent.
yeah, throw that out there. All right, Warhammer.
All right. Sounds good.
What did we read this
So,
time?
we read Armor of Contempt by Dan Abnett, or alternatively titled War is Hell by Dan Abnett.
Yeah, War is Hell.
Because, like, I know it's Imperial Guard. That's been a sub theme of all of these. Certainly, all these books are like War is Hell. But this book's like, hey, in case you hadn't been paying attention, War is Hell. Enjoy.
It is. Ooh. It is. I feel like Dan really wanted to like find the weakness in people's hearts and drive a knife into it. It's like, hey, you know, Kath and Tona and her kids and Gull's kids, and like how that's been like a running theme for the last 5 books. What if Dallin was grown up now and everyone's celebrating him becoming a guardsman? Everyone's doing
Ghost, not just a
guardsman,
guardsman.
him becoming a ghost, and
Yeah.
like Gaunt's there, and they've got actual try again Bragg Sakra, and like they didn't pay for it. They were just like, yep, wet the babe's head. Everyone's really proud to have him there, and then he has to go through R.I.P., which is retraining, indoctrination, and punishment. They train and punish the same people who break laws and new inductees in the same program, and that sucks. Like, poor Darlin's getting beaten, and you're like, okay, yes, maybe there's like
For being a good aim with a gun.
Yep.
Let's make that very clear.
Right,
They have
right.
a shooting exercise. He has a good score, and the guy's like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna beat you to death." And it's like, what the hell?
And then there's like a rancid logic here where it's like, okay, actual war has got to be way harder than this. These people theoretically maybe are not used to being beaten, or maybe the punishment ones are because they've already been a guardsman, but the indoctrinee ones, like the pure trainees, you want to like instill them that you're going to get hurt and you still need to be able to do your 10k run, like your march with your kit and stuff. So there's like a kind of logic where this guy's being a dick entirely for no reason, but maybe there is a reason. And you're like, okay, that sucks. Poor Darlin. And look, his mum's still there to pick him up on his first day, and isn't that sweet? It's Tona having a heart again after the last book when she came back from Garyon. And then they get to Garyon. What?
Do we see her having a heart with Calf?
A little bit.
I know she cares about her kid.
Yeah, so it's implied that they're sleeping in the same. It's not really calling it a billet might be overstating it, but they are like living together again, like in their cage that they put up like their camo cloaks on the wall to give themselves privacy in this mass conveyor ship.
That's true.
So it's
She's gotten
implied.
better.
It's implied
That's
that they're
good.
like, and
Yeah.
Cath is talking like in his head. He's like, we're going to Garyon. I'm gonna beat Garyon, so I know what she went through and I can relate, and things are gonna be back to the way they were. Like he's saying, it's still tense between them, but like it's getting better. And then
Right.
they get to Garyon, and Van Voigt decides that we need to activate the reserve companies because this is going to be a big old challenging fight, and anyone in RIP is now in a activated squad or a regiment or something, not going back to their home regiments. They're in this unique one, and we get everything from Darlin's perspective as he is landed into a war zone where there is also a Titan, right? Like that's how thick and brutal
Right.
this fight is going to be. Like this is where they're deploying the Titan. He's given a commissar who uses a whip to motivate these people who
She's never seen Gaunt use.
no
Correct.
who is executing people for losing their rifle through all the madness of hell. Darlin has a bad time. The book, a really really bad time,
Accurate.
and Dan Abnett was just like, yeah, you know this character, you just had like a happy moment with them. Stab, 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 right in the heart. That's what he did.
Yeah.
300 pages. Stab, stab, stab.
It's a lot of it. There's more than one time in this book too where Gaunt's talking to somebody in the Imperium and they're like, "Come on now, Gaunt. It's not the Dark Ages anymore." And he goes, "I'm not quite sure that it's not." Like
Right.
he's really convinced that things are super super terrible and could be better. I think someone calls him a progressive at some point in the book.
Someone calls him like a
You're
liberal.
far too progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Farragut, the other commissar, who, despite
Yeah.
his introduction with Ludd in Angry and Sexist in the last book, where he's giving him shit for having never seen combat, turns out Farragut here has also never seen combat and has been super scared.
Right.
It turns out he ends up having like an argument with Gaunt where he's like, "You bleeding heart lefty, you'll never survive. You're a dying breed in the guard." I'm like, there were liberals and progressives in the guard. Like Gaunt's a nice guy, but like I don't know that I'd ever put him anywhere on a political spectrum in our world.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway,
Yeah. So it's terrible. Like, okay, that's the thing. Like, war is hell, but when you're worrying maybe even more about your own commanders as you are about the enemy, it's worse, right? We're just
Right.
layering on aspects of evil here over and over and over onto these poor kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
At some
I
point,
mean, I appreciated it
yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, at some point, I feel like Dan wrote this book because people were like, there was he heard one too many people on Reddit go like, the Imperium's the good guys, right? Without them, humanity would have fallen apart. And he's like, oh, you think they're the good guys? Well, Gaunt is by comparison a good guy. Let's take someone you theoretically care about because he was like a child, right? Have him grow up, give him a coming of age story, and then, have him be whipped by his leaders, shot for not having a gun, stabbed by other guardsmen who were like scavenging him for resources, come down in the first wave. They put the trainees in the first wave of an orbital drop into a hostile like citadel.
Yeah. And then they drop a Titan on top of them.
And then they drop a Titan on top of it.
Let's not forget that. Yeah.
And then not only that, at the end of the book, when he's finally relieved, it's after 20 days of non-stop fighting. And then after that, they land 250,000 more guardsmen. And he's like on his way to somewhere. And he's like, should I tell them what they've got coming? And it's like, No, you can see it in Darlin's mind. He says it himself. Nobody told me. Why should they know? Darlin is really broken by this, like, these events to the point where he's now. It's probably not permanent, right? Because like his mum comes to pick him up again, which is really really sweet. But also another stab in the heart because Calf dies. Spoilers: his dad's dead.
Right.
Um,
Right. At the end.
at
The
the end.
very end.
At the very
You're
end.
like, boy, nothing else bad can happen to this kid.
Right.
And then Dan's like, oh, really?
Yeah. So like, there's no. I feel like everyone who thinks the Imperium are the good guys should read this book and be like, it's easy to say, to make those kinds of arguments, but if you actually sat down and were like, what is the experience of 99% of all people in Warhammer? It's Darlin's experience. And even Darlin finds
Yeah,
himself
easy.
in like the first hour of being deployed for his first time as a guardsman being like, I wanted to kill the Emperor. No,
Yeah.
life in the Imperial Guard is the surest fire way to make a traitor guardsman. You know?
Yeah. Well, he has the thought, I want to kill the Emperor, and then immediately is horrified that he
Right.
had that thought.
Right.
And starts working even harder to climb over the bodies of corpses to prove that
Right.
that's not really what he believes.
He rationalizes it away and being like, "Oh, it's Garyon. It's just this place. It's a chaos world, but we're here to fix that."
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a great perspective of the guard on the ground. Like just we've read books where Titans are like and the Titans perspective. Or we're driving a Titan, Titans are cool, Titans are awesome. But then you're on the ground with it and it's like, oh, like this is a war machine of war machines. It is trampling guardsmen who can't get out of the way in time. It is not concerned about any of them, right? It is something that should not exist and is breaking the brain of this poor kid.
Yeah.
So we've got that, and then he goes right from that experience into a literal demon shows up.
Right.
And starts murdering everybody. And then the battle psychers are like, oh yeah, how about this? And everyone's like, my head's gonna explode. And I'm like, this is like the first 20 minutes.
Right.
But
Yeah.
again, we have books where, Space Marines are fighting demons, and it's like, yeah, take this. Yeah, we got power swords, and we've got our own psychers here, and everything's fine. But yeah, from the perspective of the random dude on the ground, it's like the most mind-melting, terrifying thing he's ever experienced. Since the Titan showed up. So it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a moment in the book where I can't remember who asks him, but he's like, it's pretty terrible, huh? And he's like, I couldn't decide which exact thing they were talking about.
Right.
Like, of the 17 terrible things I've seen today, or if just all of it as a kind of a whole.
Yeah. I really like some of his squad mates who will give themselves really awful nicknames. Like, his name is Creed, so they call him Holy because it's like the Imperial Creed. And he's like,
right.
One of them becomes a philosopher to try and survive, and he's like, it's like a nightmare. And Darlin's like, well, I had a nightmare once where I was chased by a chair.
And this prostitute who raised me was there, and she had a chicken.
Yeah, kept asking me if my shoes were tied. I thought that was really funny.
I think the line is, he's turned into a philosopher, but he's not a very good one.
Yeah. It's very good.
But yeah, you're like, their poor brains are just trying to make sense of the stuff that doesn't make sense around them, and it's just the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. So war is really bad.
War is hell. It's yikes. That's no way to put it.
I watched a video the other day. Dude was like, all right, so look, throughout history, leaders have been able to basically trick young men into thinking that war is about valor and glory, and you'll come back and people will be like, wow, you're a war hero, well done, and you protect the downtrodden, and it's just good versus evil, and you need to protect everyone. And then they go to war and they're disabused of this notion and disillusioned immediately.
Right.
But by that point it's too late. Like you're already there.
Uh-huh.
And kind of the same way with Creed is you go home and like you can't really tell the new round of kids what the reality is because they probably aren't going to believe you. They don't want to hear it, right?
Right.
Or maybe you think they don't deserve to know the truth. Either
Right.
way.
And like Dallin
But yeah,
has
but like the horrible part of it, well, is just that you understand what war is once you've been through it.
mm-hmm.
Or, you've read somebody else's account of what war is, in which case you know what war is.
I
But there's
think
nothing you can do about it. Like war is just omnipresent.
right. I feel like there's definitely an intrinsic property of war where it's like you can clinically understand it. Like you could read this book and go, man, that is awful. That is a visceral description of what it's like to be Darlin Creed in this moment. And not just Darlin Creed, everyone on the ground there, right? Everyone except
Yeah.
for their goddamn commissar who seem to be having a field day, right? Um,
Right. This is what I've trained for.
but but I think like the point where Darlin is broken and he's like, nobody told me, I'm not telling them. Why should I bother? The commissar might shoot me if I stop to even try. Is very
Right.
much in the vein of like you can read it and clinically know, analytically understand what it's like, but you can't know what it's like until you do it, right? Like
Right.
Darlin could maybe try to tell these people, but they wouldn't be able to understand any more than he could 20 days ago. Especially as
Mm-hmm.
someone like who grew up in the culture that was like, I'm going to be a guardsman. That is my future. you know, war is
Yeah.
great.
My parents are guardsmen. I was raised in with the guardsmen. It's what I'm
Right.
gonna do. Yeah.
Right. And like if we even look at like Ludd in the last book, he was like he couldn't wait for his first combat. He was nervous, but like he had grown up looking at frescoes of war scenes and being like, it's a holy honor. There's a good cause served by this, but it's great because the Imperium is
Yeah.
war writ large, you know. And then he gets
Yes.
into it and he's like,
Yes.
"Oh,
It really is.
this is nightmares." And then we seeing that again, where Darlin is just as much a indoctrinated in this cult-like belief that war's great, and then he gets it. And admittedly, right, while war is terrible, he does come away with a greater understanding of like what his adopted mother did, where it's like she found him and his sibling in the war and just did what needed to do and never stopped doing that. So he gains an
Right.
appreciation that like there can be noble causes in war, but war itself will just destroy the lives of its participants.
Yes.
And this book's
Yeah.
really good
Totally
at doing
will.
that.
Yep. So I guess one thing
Mhm.
related here
Mhm.
is that the video I watched, the dude made the point that in our moment in history,
Mm.
it seems like we're kind of pulling away from the myth. Movies about war that have come out in the last 10 or 15 years are not glorious, right? A lot of it's looking at the PTSD, a lot of it's looking at the mental toll of it, a lot of it's looking at the physical toll of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's trying to show it for what it is. And he's like, when's the last war hero America had? When's the last guy that went to war and was put up and lionized as look at what the American war hero is all about? And I can't think of one.
Give me
Maybe
Chris
he's World
Kyle.
War II.
I'm gonna
I
say
don't know who
Chris
that is.
Chris Kyle. He's American Sniper. They made a movie about him, and he released a book, and it definitely
Ah,
touches on him having PTSD and being like, the only place I felt normal was back in the Marines or whatever. So he went and did like 2 more tours. But I remember watching that movie and coming out of it being like, I want to go buy a flag and a pickup and enlist. Right? That was a very, it,
okay, that's a
uh,
good one. So
but
2013?
yeah, maybe. But my first thought was, you don't watch the folding ideas videos I put into the Discord, do you?
I
Because
do not.
the exact kind of movies that you were thinking of, where it's all about how war is hell and will destroy the lives of its participants, can be, I think, really summed up in the one word, which is Jarhead, the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
That's
I think
2005.
that
So
was like 03.
no,
Yeah.
05. So
Oh, five.
sure,
No,
20,
yep, I know.
21
I was
years.
close. I'll take 2
Yeah,
years
yeah, no,
off.
no, no.
Yeah,
I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you. That is entirely what
yeah,
it is.
but a long time ago.
It's a character drama about
Yep,
people going mad in the desert for no reason. Um, but
right.
so the Folding Ideas video touches on something he said in a video years ago, which is, do you want Jarhead sequels? This is how you get Jarhead sequels. And so Jarhead has 3 sequels which entirely drop the idea of, you know, uh, war is hell, right? And are just hoorah, support the troops kind of films.
Yeah,
Because first Jarhead movie was based on Anthony Swofford's biography. Like, he was a real soldier. These were his real experiences. And then the next 3 films are just sequels made by, I think, Warner Brothers, because they had the like the IP right licensing, and they just slowly strip the franchises of anything that the first movie had to say. All the like connecting things are very aesthetic. So it's like, okay, Jarhead had time of day introductions where it would say 0200 Iraq or whatever, right? So they have that,
yeah,
but it's all just about like the voiceover, because Jarhead had voiceover. This one's asking, what's the point? And then at the end of the movie, it answers that question by going, what's the point? I guess it's duty and love of country and way of life, right? It's
right.
slow, like, and that's my guess, is that there are movies that definitely still portray that that kind of mentality where being a warrior is a noble thing, and like to have a warrior spirit is a good thing, and that the Marines are a brotherhood of warriors and the best out there.
Right.
So that those things still happen. There's a documentary. Again, I'm pulling all of this from Folding Ideas video. This is how you get Jarhead sequels. It's called The Standard. It's a documentary about made by Go Rock. They make tactical backpacks that are meant to be very durable, and like the CEO and the owners are all ex-Marines, and what they do is they have a competition call where they like, will anyone meet the standard? And they have theoretically get civilians to try to do U.S. Special Forces military selection processes, where it's like, okay, you have to be able to run 2
Right.
miles, do 45 sit-ups, 10 like 100 push-ups all in the afternoon, and do a 10-mile run with a full rock, right? And it's all basically an ad for them. But the second half of the documentary is they just kind of make shit up to stress people out and to get them to quit. And it's all incredibly biased, but it's all, I have the warrior mentality. I was a Special Forces Marine. You get some of that by being near me, having this reedy dork, that's a direct quote from Dan Olson, yell at you for 2 hours.
Right.
It's a great video. Everyone should go and watch his video. Because, yeah, turns out people still do believe and feel like that, even if it feels like largely the cultural zeitgeisty narrative. Like, the belief is that, like, no, we all understand that this is shit. Some people there are some people out there who don't.
Certainly true.
Certainly true. Maybe they're the
Certainly
minority,
true.
but
You need more than some people to do your war is the problem.
well, yeah, but I mean,
Right? How many people do you need to believe it and sign up for it
well,
in order to actually
uh,
do the thing?
I
Because like Trump attacks Iran, right?
sure.
I didn't see anybody online, not on my right-wing message boards, not on left-wing Reddit, obviously, who was like, hell yeah, I want to send my son to Iran.
Right.
They were like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, war is terrible. I'm not sending my kid over there to die. What's going on? And I just feel like that's more the mentality now. And yeah, there are people who are born into it and love this idea of going out and putting their life on the line and pushing their body as far as they can and all the glory and stuff. But I don't think there are enough of them
Right.
to have them actually enlist and do anything that's warish, you know?
Sure. But I'm gonna raise.
I don't know.
I'm gonna raise like 2 points. One, whether or not any individual or even a large portion of individuals say we don't want to be involved in this war, I don't think that's necessarily the the force that's going to impact whether or not we do or don't go to a war, right? Like people, there can be lots of people who say I don't want to be here, but the
I think
country
it
can.
does.
I think it can. I think it's a big one, but I don't think it's the biggest, right? I think like if it was the biggest impact, and let's assume all of America's leaders at the moment are competent and rational and thought about it, then you shouldn't have launched attacks there in the first place because it was obviously going to be really unpopular, but it happened anyway. So I feel like that's kind of
Right.
evidence that that idea is maybe less like I don't know, you know what I mean, right?
I think so.
Yeah. The second one that I'll say is
Yeah.
that whether or not we're at war, it still doesn't change the fact that people will sign up for the military even when we're not in war, knowing full well that they could go there.
Yeah.
And so the reasons that push people to enlist, like even legitimate ones or illegitimate ones, like, hey, do you want a signing bonus if you sign up for an 8-year contract now?
Right.
There will always like getting people into the military and wanting to go to war are two separate ideas to me, and I think that's my point
They
here. That we can believe that war is terrible,
Mm-hmm.
but there will always be ways to get people into the military. And it's like we can understand that it's shit. We can all understand, but I mean, do I need to go and find recruitment numbers to be like, what's the trend line over the last 10 years? Because I bet it's down. I certainly assume it's down, but I don't think it's like plummeting off a cliff over the last 20.
Yeah. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
The Googles
Yeah.
say
June 2025 article on this. Come on, give me a graph. Don't make me read a whole article. I just want a graph.
So I found one. Military applicants reached a 40-year low in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But how low is 40-year low? Like,
Dang, they had upwards of 800,000 people enlisting in the 80s.
mm-hmm.
And down in 2022, it was like 150K.
Yeah. I'm looking at. I found
That's a massive drop.
I'm at war.gov because that is the Department of War's URL. The Army had a goal
Right.
of 61,000 recruits, and it's meeting and like it reached 101% of its goal. So like if they're saying we need this many people, they're getting it, and like the
Wow.
Navy.
Is that what that goal is, or is that goal how many
Yeah.
can we get?
Yeah, maybe that's an excellent point. But like the Navy hit their goal, the Air Force barely hit their goal, 100.22%.
Yep.
Space Force hit its goal,
Yeah.
a goal of 819. Marine Corps hit its goal, and like yeah, maybe internally that this is not entirely trustworthy because they're like, well, we totally set a goal just below what we actually had. That's certainly possible.
Yeah, because look at this chart. Look at it. They were getting hundreds of thousands, almost 1 million people enlisting back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And now their goal is 60,000 kids, and they're like, yeah, we
Well,
rocked it.
Well, is that war is hell, or that like the Cold War's over? We don't have an imminent Russia scare threat now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
Like-
think it's all related.
Because like
I mean,
You-
it's
you see
obviously
the-
a lot harder to sell people signing up to the military if you don't have an existential threat to convince them that we need to be defended.
right, because you can see the peak in
100%.
like 2008 there, right?
Yep.
So it's like okay, economy collapses, number of people looking for a job that will feed them and pay them goes up. You know?
Yeah, look at that. 400,000 in that peak.
Yeah, it went up by almost
now
100,000.
60K.
Yeah.
60K is the goal.
Well, that's just for the.
Wow.
This is your graph, which I really like, is just is all military. 60K is just the Army. It's if we added up all these numbers,
okay.
60, 100, 130, 150. So yeah, it's still half, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's still just under 200.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
and like
Yeah.
not to uh, not to be a complete pessimist, but there is once you're discharged, you actually have like a 4 year thing where it's like we can call you back if a war breaks out in the next 4 years. You can come back and have to do another like 5 year term or whatever. Um, you stay like in the reserves.
Right.
Um, Fun fact: I learnt this from an old podcast, which I know you love hearing about all these old podcast stories that I have, because they're not my stories and you don't care. But one of the people on there said he got his final dispensation, like discharge papers, that they couldn't call him back anymore the day before 9/11. Um,
Oh wow.
so
Yeah.
he was really glad to be like out at that point.
Certainly. But then that's a good example of we're under attack.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, kid, you want to defend America? A lot easier then, right?
Right? Yeah.
Like I'm sure tons and tons of kids were like, "Let's go," whereas he was like, "I'm glad to be out."
Mm-hmm. Right, but
Certainly.
he had done it.
Yeah.
And he had done it, and he was a
Yes.
journalist. Um,
Yeah.
he wasn't exactly a frontline dog soldier. You know, to use the term that Warhammer will use. Anyway, interesting stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I think the true test of this
Mm-hmm.
will be if there is like a presidency, some kind of leadership in the U.S. that can actually, that really tries to sell America's under attack, sign up for the military and defend America.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Because I don't think we've seen that for a long time.
Well.
So I'm just curious, if they try it, how successful will they be? I think that might be the moment where it's like, okay, something's happening here, or same as always,
Right.
right?
Right.
If we get 400,000 dudes to sign up because a successful attempt to convince them to sign up works, then yep, I don't think maybe people have changed as much as I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I believe people have changed, but I'm making the point that like the cult mentality around I'm a military family, or I grew up in a military family, and
Yeah.
like that cult of personality or belief still very much exists in certain places and certain people. It could be the minority, and
Right.
you know, but I think it's definitely still there. Whether or not they'll actually do something, because holding that belief genuinely and then genuinely signing up and doing something about it are actually two different things again. You can
Yes, 100%.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are tons of people who were raised in a military family who fully intended to do it, but once the moment came to sign up, they were like,
Oh no, I have these bone spurs in my feet.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
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 Anyway,
Another thing I wanted to say about this book, though,
Sure.
in particular, unless you had something
no, I
else
wanted to get back to
along
the
different
book.
lines.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I think there's a very intentional thing here by Abnett to show what war is like for Dahlan,
Mm-hmm.
and then how the ghosts prosecute war, right?
Yeah.
The ghosts are efficient. They're quick. They know what they're doing. They can kill the enemy quickly. They can stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take a couple casualties here and there, but they can take a whole city in an hour and a half. Bam, 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 bam. The most dangerous part is clearing it out. We're good at what we do.
Yeah.
Right? So that's war for the ghosts, for competent regiments, for ostensibly Cadians and whoever else. Right? Yeah. So I think he really wanted to make sure that it's like, this isn't the entire guard, right? It's probably most of the guard is just terrified and dying and shitting themselves when they're in war, but there are elements in the Imperial Guard who are really fucking scary and good at what they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
That definitely comes across. Yeah. Yeah. More about the book. We haven't even talked about Gaunt's little sojourn back to the Until.
Nope.
I really enjoyed all of the ghosts being like, there's a predator out there. It's hunting us. It's moving like a big cat or something. Right? And then it's like, oh, it's a tank. It's a possessed tank.
Yeah, it's a chaos-infused tank.
Yeah,
It's a really fun idea. I was like,
it's
Dan, you did it again.
it's a tank that wants to be a furry. Yeah.
Yeah, it like lies in tall grass and like hunts and pounces
Pounces.
and smells and does all the stuff cats do.
I really in my head
Hilarious.
have like the idea of the tank treads spreading out so it can really get hull down in the dirt. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just imagine the whole thing's amazingly flexible for a tank.
Right.
Yeah. So it's hunting them. They're trying to kill it with rockets, and they can't
Yeah.
quite pull that off. And there's a great moment where they're luring it in, and they're gonna hit it with a rocket, and Calf's not around, and they're like, you good with rockets?" And the dude's like, "Sure." And he misses horribly, and everyone's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Where's Catherine? We need this guy.
Right.
The only one who can shoot these things, apparently."
Yeah.
And then Creed's all pissed off about it, and then she tries, and she's like, "Oh, this is a lot harder than it looks."
Yeah.
Like, fair enough, Creed.
Fair.
Very reasonable outcome there.
And then in a bit of
And then in the end, of course, Gaunt has to kill it because Gaunt he does the fantastical in every book at some point.
yep. It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
With McColl, obviously. Yeah.
Magic McCall.
Yeah. I like that they're like, we got to get the hatch open and kill it that way. Because I was like, is there a crew in there? It doesn't seem like it's crude. But I think they were just looking at it more of like, its internal organs are in there somewhere.
Right.
There's hard outer shell, but whatever's going on, the inside is soft and squishy. So let's kill that. And I was like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we caught a glimpse of what it looked like in there, and it was just insanity and terrible, and we just didn't look very long.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
So Gaunt's given a
McColl's writing it for a while. Oh man, it's good.
Also true.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, Gaunt's little mission is to make contact with the underground resistance, and they lead him on a little bit of a goose chase to be like, we don't know if we can trust you. I'm like, well, we're the god. You see all those ships raining in from the sky? That's us. We're giving you the liberation you guys asked for. And they're like, well, we're still very secretive. And they lead him to...
Yeah. Also, our planet has been killed. It is dead. It's a little late, guys, is another big part of this.
Yeah, they're like, where are all the bodies? And like, we don't know where the people are. We can't get the ones that we do find are all just kind of like mindless husks. And then Golcolia steps through a door into a magical land of the warp and finds a lot of bodies. A lot of bodies.
Heaps of corpses.
Yeah. So they find out where all the people went.
Yeah.
But Gaunt is led to a tomb. A little rock piling hiding a body of McVenna, the one of the ghosts that stayed behind.
And there's a tombstone for him because they're like, he died.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh no, McKenna.
McVenna.
And I was like, no way, not McKenna. Absolutely not him.
Yeah, and then later...
And then guess what? He's alive.
He's alive, yeah. So basically they do... No, definitely, we see him.
Well, we're in the Until. We see a lot of things.
Yeah, but we see a dude holding a bow staff and a camo cloak wrapped around his shoulders, who then does magic with his woodcraft and stealth. That's McVenna.
Yep. I know. Yes, aware.
Yeah, so it turns out the Inquisition was tricking Gaunt into leading them to the Until people, the Nicgane, so that they could maybe harvest all the moths for anti-chaos use. I hope it works.
Yeah.
I kind of get the Inquisitor's point where it's like, I have to try. Could you imagine finding the cure to chaos and not trying? That kind of made sense to me. I kind of got it. And I'm like, I really feel like if you had told Gaunt, he would have said yes to this plan. Right? Like, he would have, like, you could have, he would have, he would have done this anyway.
100%.
Yeah. And so all the
Yeah. Well,
all
because just the whole story is that the Imperium is not interested in the world because it's too hard to take it back and it's not worth enough.
right. And
And then one day they're like, aha, we should take it back. And he's like, deal. Okay, I'm not looking for any other reasons they'd want to take this back other than to help the war effort and inspire the troops.
mhm.
That's fine with me. And then they get there. It's like, actually, we have underhanded reasons for doing this. And he's like, what? Oh,
But
God, you're so dumb.
I feel like I do feel like there's other reasons, the principally stated reasons, do make sense for all of the other worlds. Like we get that
Yeah.
in the prologue where it's like Van Voigt's decided to shore up his value to the Warmaster by getting a string of victories on planets that were previously thought to be worthless. And
Lost.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Lost to chaos.
and also he has a bunch of new regiments, so getting them a bunch of wins under their belt will do them wonders. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then it goes, but one stands apart, and then it cuts to the book happening, and it turns out it's Garyon. Wow.
Right.
I was so surprised. So like, it makes sense. I guess Gaunt wasn't looking too hard, but I feel like he's only been away from Garyon for as long as he was on Garyon. He should have had this is not enough time for him to settle back down into just being like Colonel Commissar, leader of men, thinker of the big plan no longer. I feel like he could have put these together. That the Inquisition would want something, especially when Sabatine Kirk shows back up and he's like, "Yes, you have to take me along because I'll have totally in-date communication codes to talk to the Resistance." And not just she was a plant with Farragut. Oh man, poor Sabatine.
Right.
At the end, she realizes that liberation happened, but not really. Far too late for her people.
Far too late. There are multiple times in this book where different characters are like, this planet is dead.
Yep.
We are holding a funeral for Garyon. We are not bringing it back. It's dead and buried and out. We can kick chaos off. We're not getting our planet back.
Right. And poor Ezra, he's labeled as unkind to his own people. Even the other Negane don't accept him, and he's real sad.
He's alien now. Yeah.
And so Sabatine, knowing that her world is gone, even with liberation, takes one of his moth venom bow arrows, his rainbow arrows. I think they're just called quills or something.
Yeah.
Walks off into the swamp and pricks herself and falls down and dies. Man.
She sure does.
She sure does.
She has this really sad monologue before she does that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where she's like, I thought, working hard and helping people and saving people would be reward enough. She's like, I've been doing this for so long. I do not feel...
That's Anna Kurth. I'm talking about Sabatine Kirk.
That's Kurth who has that monologue. Yeah.
She's the Medicaid, and she's like, I just want out of here, Gaunt. I really believed that just doing the right thing and helping people was that was good. I no longer believe that. I just want to leave.
Yeah. She says, this has been horror without relief. It's taken me beyond a limit for selflessness I didn't know I had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rewarded by what I've done. I do not feel a better servant of the God Emperor for it. I hate this. Hebron. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough out there.
Yeah.
And it's just Abnett being like, these are the real long-term effects of fighting for this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, comedy styles is wild.
So the Imperium...
The priest, he's like, I'm coming down. That world needs a priest more than anything. I'll count the trees this afternoon. I'll do it in a whole evening.
I'll make sure I only bless the flora that's native and not from chaos and incursions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it's pretty good.
it's good. It's funny. It's Zweiel being a crazy old coot, and even Ezra, we get a bit of his internal monologue where it's like, oh yeah, sometimes the chieftain will just keep a fool around, like a jester, someone who's mentally impaired to entertain them. That's what Gaunt's doing with with Zweiel. And then
I guess he can give last rites and stuff. He does
no,
some
it's
things.
true. This is just Ezra's interpretation
Yeah.
of it, because he's also breaking down how he doesn't
Right.
understand that none of these people are actually like clan, but they all manage to mesh together, and they let a person from even another clan lead them. And he's like, it'll never make any sense to me.
Yep.
I've given up trying. I really feel like Zweiel. I don't remember the next book if Zweiel feels bad, because he's definitely like, I need to go and look for survivors. I can help them. Let me go in. And Calf is there, who is on the receiving end of that. And that's when Calf dies. I really feel like Zweiel should feel at fault for getting Calf killed. That if you just let the military deal with this and not try to like extol last rites first, that like they could have cleared the place a little more efficiently, because like they find a child and the priest is like, oh, my turn. And it's like, well, no, you sweep and clear the whole building first.
Yeah, I know, but what? It's not his fault. They didn't check. They didn't clear it. You know what I mean?
Right, but I feel like it was him.
Like they didn't check the pantry because they didn't check the pantry.
They didn't
like,
check.
They just fucked up.
They didn't check the pantry because they found a person, and Zweiel was like, okay, I'm going in. Not like, hey, we need to let the military dudes finish their sweep. They all stopped what they were doing because Zweiel was like, we're trying to save this kid. Like that's how it felt to me.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
So it's their fault. It's not his.
I feel like
he didn't have command of them. They could have said, "No, we're waiting. You can take care of this kid in 10 minutes after we're finished clearing this building, or however long it takes."
maybe I feel like God.
And they didn't.
I feel like him being there, it was imposing on them. Like they all love the preacher and they want to, indulge him, but they can't say no to him. And once he's there, like he should know better to not put himself in that situation, right? But he, forces his way onto the planet. Like Doc Dorton wanted him to stay, Gaunt wanted him to stay, and he's like, I'm going. I've got combat boots. Look.
Gotta lift up my robes, but they're here, I promise.
Yeah. And if he hadn't done that, I feel like things might have gone differently.
Yep, certainly. Yep. Certainly true.
Yeah. Poor Darlin and Yonti would still have one of their dads.
Would be nice.
Did the bait and switch of like Gold Collier being like, oh, I might die here. Like, what if I die? How will that affect the kid? I want you, Calf, to give him his Tanith rank pins.
Right.
Were your expectations suitably subverted? With like, it's not Collier who died; it was Calf.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It was the guy that nobody had any thought in their head that he would die before he got home. He's the one that gets taken out. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's the aspect of war that Dan's really trying to bring across more often than not. Yeah. It's just like, it doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter how beloved they are, how many friends they have, how good they are at soldiering. It doesn't matter. War takes people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, tough book. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 thumbs up for me, but like heavy.
Yes, 100%.
What I will say, this was the last book that Dan wrote that had like a yearly release for the Gaunt's Ghosts. So like First and Only was 1999, and then Ghostmakers 2000. Necropolis was also 2000, but it's 2001, 2002, 03, 04, 05, 06, and then he skips a year for the next book. and then then it's 1 year for the next book, and then 2 years for the next book, and then 5 years, and then 2 years. So
Wow.
it's not really a massively important point because, but I definitely feel like there's a difference between very early Dan Abnett and like most recent Dan Abnett. I feel like because I feel like these books get better and better because Dan's getting better, always getting better as a writer. But we're gonna start seeing jumps there. It's not important, but it's something that I consider noting. Probably not a big note because I'm also I'm basing this entirely off release dates of books, not necessarily when they were written.
Right.
But yeah, the next one is Only in Death. It's the last one for this anthology,
and we got it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did I nearly accidentally listen to this book first? Yes, because I clicked on the wrong one in my Audible app.
Hey, I've done that before.
Yeah.
Well, good. Glad it's not just me, although you did stop yourself, so that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. The opening quote is, "Only in death does duty end." Old imperial proverb.
Oh, I'm noticing here on the Lexicanum that does your The Lost have a book after Only in Death? Because it's saying that there's a short story that's tied in here just after Only in Death called The Iron Star, and it puts it as like...
I do have that.
Okay, you do have that? Do we want to read that as well? I'll pick that up. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a short story. It shouldn't be too much extra. But yeah.
No.
Cool.
All right. Well, we'll see if the next book's message is War is Hell, or if it's maybe something else with a subtitle of War is Hell, as it usually is.
War is hell, but the ghosts can get through it. That'll be it.
Not all of them, mind you. A lot of them die.
Yeah.
But enough of them are still alive, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. We wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live here on twitch.tv/Somicron, youtube.com/@Somicron, a good place to see the VODs too. You can subscribe to this Twitch channel, or just follow it if you want to support the channel. You can give subs out here. You can cheer bits. You can go to patreon.com/Somicron to support the podcast as well on a monthly basis. And we will catch you next week. You can read along with us. If you have any questions, let us know in the chat or leave a comment